Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 43 of the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2020. Thank you all so much for being with me today, and thanks to all of Tangle and Inspire's subscribers for joining us for our patterns for the next week. And I hope that my subscribers will go and check out Aishwarya Darba's channel, Tangle and Inspire, where she is going to be putting these into her journal string. And each one of these days this week, we will be stepping out a pattern on this channel. And then if you guys are interested in doing journaling, you can skip over to Tangle and Inspire and get your journal on. All right. Today's Tangle is going to be FLUXISM. It is by Kamala Louie. She is from Malaysia, I believe. And this is a tangulation of the pattern Flux. Now, for those of you who are beginners, this is a partially shaded tile that I did last year with featuring Flux, the pattern Flux. And so this is a very organic pattern. It's very grow worthy, and it loves its little orbs in the middle. So what we're going to do today is look at this tangulation of Flux. All right, so let's get started. Since this is another radial focal point type of a tangle, I am going to go ahead and dispense with my string today because I wouldn't use it anyway. And I am going to step this out here in the center. Now, this is one that you're going to want to practice your stroke before you start. This is the little stroke. Okay? So basically, this starts with a circle. And my advice is not to make your circle or your orb, in my case, too small. But don't worry, that's all going to go away. All right, so the top of this stroke is going to be Flux. All right, and Flux is done with a teardrop shape. Okay? So you're going to put a teardrop shape and leave a little bit of a gap before the bottom. And you're just going to put a little half orb on there. Partial orb, whatever. All right. So now what we need to do is repeat this all the way around the circle. So it seems pretty easy if you can get the initial stroke down. The challenge for this type of a thing is keeping them all lined up as you go around the circle and making them touch. So when you're working on your second stroke, you're going to want to touch it, the second one, as we come in here. So it can take a little practice. Then bring your teardrop shape down and add your little partial thing down on the bottom. Now these big flux teardrop shape things can be as long and skinny or as fat as you like. However, fat is good because it helps you to stay lined up on this. So if you can encroach a little bit further over, that's always a good thing. Finish your teardrop shape and put your little partial orb. So we're going to continue this. Flux is one of my very favorite patterns, Rick's version. So many of us are not as familiar with Maria's version, which is still very cool. I think people like this one so much because it's slightly easier to comprehend than Maria's. But I find them both very pleasing. But this particular version is one of my very favorite things. I love just sitting down and filling a tile like the one I showed you earlier with fluxes, and just enjoying that process of one stroke of the pen after another with the breathing and relaxing. So I'm big about that. Now, as I come up here, I'm going to have to decide, am I going to fit two in this little space, or am I going to make this big and come over and touch this, which is what I'm going to do. And so we have joined up here like this, okay? Now this looks a bit messy, and I'll grant you it does, okay? But we're going to fix it up, and it's going to look awesome. So, next step. Now, she has you doing this step next, which is, just can't find a good camera angle for this today, which is to take a sliver, an echo line like we did the other day on cake. This is the exact same stroke. And then we're going to black that on the top of each one of these little fluxes, or flower petals, or teardrop shapes, or whatever you want this to be. It's up to you. Okay. Then, after this step all the way around, where she has capped each of these petals with black, then she comes down here to the center. Let me really get in here good so that you can tell what we're doing. I know this is small work. Okay, you're going to make a little, let's say an echo next to this little line, this little partial orb here, and you're going to black that in. Like that, okay? And don't worry about imperfections here. You're not going to have any problems, because this whole thing is going to look completely different when we get finished with it. Okay? So just put a little sliver of black along here, along each one of these. And I like to do this step first before I do the outer edges. Don't ask me why, it's just a personal preference. Some of these I have more room than others, and that's okay. I'm not going to sweat that this one is different than this one, because as I said, by the time we get done, you're not going to be able to tell about any of it. So just make you a little dark crescent moon of black right around this partial orb on the bottom. Oops, like this. Okay. And again, I can go around and cap all of my little fluxes right now if I want to, but I prefer to work this intersection until it's finished and then do that as the last step. Of course, you may do as you wish. So now, what are we going to do with all these little spaces in here? Well, of course, it's flux, so with flux comes orbs. So I'm just going to draw in a little orb to each one of these blanks, these little interstices. I love that word. It's so much fun to say. That just means the little spaces that are left between the elements of the tangle. Just a fancy word. All right. So this is how we handle the inner part of this. Some of these orbs are going to be large. Some of them are small. Some of them will be almost non-existent, but it's not going to matter. Remember, it's the overall effect that we're looking for. We're not going to stress about the individual elements. We're going to finish our tile up, understanding that art frequently has an ugly stage. I know mine does. I think everyone's does. And it's very important for you to go ahead and finish before you decide whether or not you're going to like something. If you're completely finished shading and all, and you still think it's useless, then put it in your I don't like this box. Don't throw it away. Do not throw your tiles away, guys. I really want to encourage you. That was one of the first pieces of advice that I got from my teacher, N.E. Oken, that don't ever throw your old tiles away. You just never know what you're going to be able to accomplish with them later. So, and I actually think it would be fun for me to go and get my box out from when I first started tangling, all of the half-finished things that I didn't have faith in that I started back then, and go through and finish a couple and see what happens. I think that might be a really important step on my artistic journey. So we'll see what happens. Now, if I want to, I can put another orb here, or I can just leave it with one and black it. And I think I'll try to. I don't know if it'll work, and if I hate it, I can just go through and black over it. It's not written in stone. All right. Tangle we're doing tomorrow is so awesome. You guys are going to love it. I hope. Sometimes I'm wrong about what you guys like. Most of the time I can figure out. But I also know that the times that I pick things that I know that that aren't going to be favorites, fan favorites, if you will, I also know it's good for us to expand ourselves and try new things. So that's sort of my attitude about it. So little boy is in there giggling. We got some really good news today. We have a hearing tomorrow, or I guess today. When you guys are watching this, it'll be today, on Tuesday. And I am very hopeful that things are going to go our way. Very, very hopeful. We got some support from somebody that we hadn't had before, and I think it's going to be our last block that we need to make this happen, so that little one and I can be permanently a family, and we never have to worry about this stuff ever again. And I know we are both looking forward to that. I'm so proud of the young man he's becoming. It's not my little boy anymore. He's my young man. Gonna be 11 at the end of the summer. So that one didn't work out, so I'm just gonna go right on over it. And remember to do a careful job with your blacking. Okay. Now I feel like a flower child from the 60s. What do you guys think? Is this a flower from the 60s? Should be on somebody's van, shouldn't it? Jinkies. Sorry. Can't help it. We bought the movie Scoob that just came out. It was the real Scooby-Doo story. They kept it very close to the things in the cartoons from when I was a kid. And for those of you who don't know, Scooby-Doo is a cartoon about a dog, a Great Dane, and his crew of mystery solvers. Anyway, it's very cute. and they have a new movie out about it. This was made for kids way back when I was a kid, like in the 60s and 70s. So it fascinates me, and I enjoy it very much when I relive that. And Little One, they did a really good job with this movie. The last few that they have made, Scooby-Doo movies, have been, I don't know, they just weren't very well done, I didn't think. There wasn't much plot. There was a lot of silliness. And this one actually had a good plot. And it was lots of fun. So I really enjoyed it. Maybe more than the kid. And these black tops don't have to be perfect either, Make them what you want them to be. There are no rules about this. I will be interested to see how Aish fits this tangle into her string today. I need to get out something that I can work mine in. I've got an old journal, but I've not written anything in it for years or drawn anything in it for years. A long time ago I kept it to keep my thoughts and feelings and art about what was going on in our lives together, and so I haven't felt the need to write in it for a while, although maybe I should. I felt that keeping a record early on was really important for memory's sake. So, well, we're working on it. We're almost done. Just a couple more. That. Just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you watching these and participating with me. It really does help the loneliness from my side and yours, I hope. I appreciate your comments and the thumbs ups that you give us, and the love and support is just so meaningful. You just cannot imagine how important that is to me. I am frequently very isolated, even though I am busy with the kid. We do kid-related things, and I don't really have anyone local that is a close friend. And so having you all to communicate with every day and talk to through comments and that kind of thing just means the world to me. So I want you to know how much I appreciate that. Not that the kid isn't great company. He is. Usually. I may change my mind when he hits 15. I don't know. But for now, he's pretty awesome. And, when he's grown, then I'll think he's awesome again, won't I? I hope so. I hope I don't screw him up too bad. All right. So, interruptions aside, we are still almost finished here. Just one more to black. I probably should have used my PN today, but honestly, I can't find it. I swear everything I own just jumps around and messes with me. Or it could be my brain. I prefer not to think of it that way. I'm going to try to take my time with this. It's very difficult for me. All right, and now, because this is Rick's flux-ism, I'm going to give each one of these the Rick treatment of the little line and dots. When I'm talking about Rick, I'm talking about Rick Roberts, the co-founder of the Zentangle Method. He and Maria Thomas are the ones responsible for bringing us this beautiful art form, which has been so pivotal in so many different lives. And I feel very strongly that it will continue to be pivotal with the world the way it is today. Art's one of the few things you can do without getting into trouble, unless you're using a spray can, in which case I am not responsible. All right, so this is my version of FLUXISM. I think, of course, what I want to do is neaten this up in between by rounding in here between the little petals. Yeah, some interesting lines going on here that I want to clean up just a little bit. And let's see. I don't know if I'm ruining something by doing that, though. We'll see. If I can stop making it such a big production, I think it'll be all right. Yeah, I like that. Here. I want to say hi to Amelia Gill. Amelia was with us last year at our 100 Days project, and I hadn't heard from her this year yet, so I'm thrilled to know she's still out there. And who else do I want to say hi to? There's so many. You guys have been so awesome about leaving comments, and there are so many. Let's say hi to Nancy Pearson. Hi, Nancy. It is great to have you back this year. I appreciate each and every one of you, whether you were here last year or not. Yes, I got to know so many of you last year. It feels like a family. All right. Okay, so let's back out and not see this quite so close up. I've got some little spots here and there that could be trimmed up. But overall, this is it. So, what do you guys think? Now, for shading, of course, we're going to do in from the middle up a little bit, and that's pretty much it, I think. And of course, you can dress this up with little orbs floating around, or you can put little zingers coming out, and or fescue, and or muka, or anything else you can think of that you would like to put around this to dress the tile up. This is a go. Let's put a little graphite on here towards the base. Just to add a little interest, and of course I'm going to partially shade my bigger orbs, give them a sort of a more of a 3D quality. Not that I'm going to get very far with that, but It really does make a difference just putting a little bit of shading on one side. I think I'm going to do that here too. I won't be able to do it on all of them. Some of them will just be too small. But well, I've got them shaded on all different sides there, but I'm going to go for it. I don't care. Not today. I want to get tomorrow out of the way so I can not worry anymore. But the news today was so wonderful to hear, so I really appreciate y'all's prayers for our little family. We are trying to keep together so hard. It makes it tough to not know the future, to not have any certainty about what's going to happen. It's very hard for both of us. So I am hoping that our ordeal with this is winding down. Okay. Now, once we get all that sorted out, then we can really let you in and make you a part of our family. We have a lot of limitations that we're under right now that hopefully we will not be under very much longer. Okay. And I know, again, that the shading part is hard to see because it's so grayed out by the light. It's quite a bit darker than the camera shows. So just start in the middle and sort of blend it up and out. You don't have any harsh lines. Try to treat each petal individually first. And you can look at it as it is with the ones around it. I'm going to try really hard not to have any lines with my pencil. I'm going to just try to bring it up very gently and blend it out. I'm just easing up on the pressure on my tortillon the further up I go. All right, so this is our tangle for today, FLUXISM. It is by Kamala Louie from Malaysia, and it is a lovely little tangle. If you can just get that initial stroke your hand used to that stroke, you are going to be just fine with this. So let me know in comments if you struggle with this or if it went well for you, how you like it. And remember, a lot of you are letting me know when you want to do a particular tangle. I am always open to your tangles, your tangle desires. There are a couple that were asked for that we had already done before, or that I felt like the skill level may have been too challenging for our group, but I'm still trying to make a decision on those. So hang with me, see where we go, and we'll find out. But if you guys have any requests for tangles, specific tangles, as long as they can be found at Tangle Patterns, then they are fine with me. So just let me know in comments and we'll go from there. Thank you guys so much for being with me today. I hope you'll go over to Aishwarya's channel, Tangle and Inspire, and see how this fits in to her string. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow.